entire screen. Yeah. Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay. So today we will be talking about HTML styling. That's what we have for today. What's this? Okay, we'll be talking about HTML styling. HTML styling, right? And let's open this in our browser. See how it looks like. Okay, so alright, so we are going to be building out a website known as opayweb.com. They've changed their link from opay to opayweb.com. So this is what we'll be building out, and we would go as far as possible. Then the other ones that we're not able to build out today, you would complete as your assignment. Are you clear?
Yes.
Okay. So we're going to start with the first thing I want to explain to you is if you want to extract images, right, from websites, you like this one now, you can't go creating it. If you drag an image, for you to know something is an image, you drag it. And if you're able to move it out like this, you know it's an image. Something like this, you are seeing a link. This is an SVG like image because you can't actually build out this thing on your own. This is a link. This one is a link as well. This one is a link. Then if you go around, you see that some of these things are links and some of them are images. Let me see this one. If you also want to know if it's an image, you check it using your inspect. Okay, this one is an online picture. This is a picture. Alright. So some of these pictures, if you just inspect them, you can see save image as. So this is another way to know if you're working with an image or you're working with an external link. Is it clear?
Yes.
Because some people can go to people's websites, just like you're linking websites online. You can go to people's websites and get the link, but you don't have the image itself, but you get the link and attach it to your website. And then whoever wants to get it has to go through a link. That's what the person will see, not the picture in this case. So if you want to know if this is an image they have that you yourself can save, you see an option like the save image as. Let me check this one. This one is also an image. It has save image as. But if you check this one, you wouldn't see that option. You see save link as and other things like that. You'll now be asking yourself, in a case like this, how am I able to like get this image? That's where I want to talk about an extension that I use in Chrome. It's not necessarily coding. This is just like to make your work easier as a developer. I found out about it recently. It's called, what's the name again? Oh, I don't have it on this website. Let me check this browser. I have it in my other browser. Okay, it's called SVG Export. So you type into your browser SVG Export, and then this is the SVG Export extension for Chrome. When you click on it, it will take you to a website like this, and then you have this option of adding it to Chrome. You add to Chrome, add extension. When you add the extension, you can find it here. Okay, see it has been added. So when you click on this stuff, this thing is on every browser, I believe. It's on Chrome. I don't know for Firefox and others. You see it here. So if I go to a website that I can't save any image there as like a normal image, I can't save it as this, meaning I can't have access to that image. I can just click on this website that I'm in. I'll go to this place and say and click on this SVG image. I'll see all of the images used on that website. Every image that is an SVG image, or an image that I can't download directly on my own, or I can't save as an image on my own. This website gives you the capacity to be able to get those images, right? Are you clear? Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So this is like a way to be able to save images. The reason why I'm going through this is that we're going to need some images that are not readily available to us, that we can't download. So I decided to like look it up, and then I found an extension that we can use to get the images. All you have to do is add the extension to your Chrome. It's always going to be here. And when you click on this, you see the extension. Then when you open it, it will show you all the images in that website which you opened it. Like we were here and I went to this point. When I opened it, it brought out all of the images that I can't download on my own. So that's a way to be able to get images or access to images. So that's it for here. So we're going to start building out this website, and let's see how far we go. So let's start with dot container, and then we'd have, in our last class we talked about HTML semantics, right? And semantic
Yes.
tags are just basically those tags that are descriptive. They tell us the kind of contents that they carry, like the header, the navigation, articles, sections, and others. So every website is in a box, in a container, just like we talked about in draw.io. Every website that we work on is inside the container, so that's why this is inside the default container. And then the next thing I'm going to have is the header section. The header section is this part. This can be the header, it can also be the navigation section. So I'm just going to, and here you have the first box and then a second box. So in my header section, I'm going to have probably dot logo section. This is a way you can write a class name, a shorter way of writing it. When you click enter, it generates this default. I'll go back and do that again. If I want to write a class name, instead of saying div, enter, and then I'll go to this point, write class, and then enter the name, logo section, right? Or logo part or image or whatever. Instead of going through this long route, I can easily say dot logo section, just the class name that I want, and then hit enter. It automatically generates this entire thing for me. So you can either go the long route or you can go the short route, depending on the one that you understand clearly. It's up to you. So I'm going to have the first div that contains this logo image, and I'm going to have the second div that has the this navigation. So I might decide to name it nav, right? And in my nav, I'll now have, though all of these things is navigation, all of these things, I'm just like trying to, dissect it a bit. So that entire place, this entire place is your navigation as well as your header. So I can have UL. This is when you want to list out things, and in here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Fine.
5 lists. So, or 5 items in our list rather. So I'm going to say li asterisk 5. This is a short way to write it out instead of doing it one by one. Li Li. This is a shorter way. If you have 3, you say asterisk 3. It means multiply this Li into 3 places and then give it to me. So the first one I believe is personal, and then is a link that leads you to somewhere. So in order to make that a link, you're going to add, let me go back. There is something that I missed. I have my, okay, let me just use this one, this. I have Li and I have an anchor tag there. This anchor tag is to send you to the link is asking for. So for now, we'll just leave this forward arrow is home. If you put a forward arrow, it means take you to the home page. This is like the home page or the index.html page. This is the way like it's represented. In here, we're now going to have personal, right? And then I will duplicate this into extra 4 places, right? Okay, so the next one is business, then documentation, company, and join us. This is business, then documentation, company.
Wait, I'm coming. Somebody's knocking on my door.
All right.
I'm back.
All right. So just like you go to this point, download this. When you download it, it will show as this. You can rename it when you download it. So I've renamed mine. I'm going to create a folder called images, right? And inside the image, I would paste let me see if I can copy this command C. Okay, no, I don't want you to open like that. Command C. I'll go to my documents, programming week 4, day 3, classwork images, and I'll paste it here because I'm having issues pasting it from here. So if you open this, you see our logo. So our logo will go into this place, and then we'll say img, and then images and the logo. So this is how we'll go about it. If we open our browser now, okay, so if I open my browser now, you can see all of these things that we've written down. So these are the stuff we have so far. So there's something else I would like to teach you also on how to get from the internet. If you go to some websites, they have different fonts. Like this font, I don't know the name, but let me check if I can find the name of the font. Okay, let me see if they have the name of the font here. Okay, these ones, they don't have any special fonts, but their website you go to and you see different kinds of fonts that are fine and you might want to use them. The place is to get fonts. It's called Google Fonts, right? And when you click on it and you open Google Fonts, you're going to see different kinds of fonts. So if you have an idea of the kind of font that you have, you can just type in the name. Like a popular one is Poppins. No, I didn't spell that correctly. Poppins. So this is a popular one. If you know the name of the font you want to use, you can type it in, and then when you click on the font, you can download the font, whichever one. And once you download, you can make use of the font. So let's say I want to download this one. This is the link. This is a link that you would copy, right? If I copy this link here, this is okay. This one is not downloaded. You have to have internet to be able to access it. So it's either you download it and you would have it on your local device, or you use a link. Though this one is easier to make use of. So once you click, let me remove this smooth. If I click on this now, it's going to download this font size or this font family for me, and then I can add it here, either before or after my title. So this is a way to add external font families that you can't find in your normal desktop. But this thing will not work except you go to your CSS and you add the font family there. How do you go about it? We have the universal selector, and then I have my normal box sizing and border box, and then I have font family. Anything you add here covers everything that you do on this file. Anything you add it to this universal selector covers every other thing that you do. So it's more like a parent. Here, these are the ones located in your normal website, like this normal local device. These ones are the ones you have access to. But most times these ones are not exactly what we want. We might want something different. We might see a website and we really like it and we want to get that kind of font. You can go and download it from Google or Google Fonts and then add it here. So if I want to add it, they also have a way to add it. See the CSS styling. You copy it this way. You go back to this place and you paste it. So this is the way to write it. Was this clear? Clinton, is it clear?
Yes.
Okay. So now you have learned two things: how to add an external font to your website and how to get images to your website. You either download the images if they are they have JPG extensions, WebP extensions, PNG extensions, or JPEG extensions. But sometimes you have issues with the SVG extension, which is this. The reason is that sometimes you can't have access to those images. So to be able to download them, you can use this extension. It's an extension by Chrome. I don't know if it's available on other web browsers, but it's available on Chrome. So once you add the extension and in that browser you open it up here, you'll be able to have access to all images that you can normally download as image. So those are the two things we've covered so far. So let's create this very first part and style it. We'll style as we go. So we have this right now. And if I go to my browser, let me see how it looks. Okay, this is how Poppins look like. What if I don't want Poppins and I want something like a font family of cursive? This one is located in my, like, it comes with VS Code by default, so you don't need to download it. But these Poppins and many other fonts, they don't come with VS Code, so you have to download those ones by linking it. So if I comment out this one and replace it with this cursive, let's go back and see how it looks like now. It's still the same. Why is that? Let me see. Okay, I didn't link the CSS. So let's go link it, index.css. And when we go back, you see how it looks like now. This is cursive. It's fine, it's classy, and it's simple. Let me go and comment it out and check this other one and see how it looks like. You see how this one looks like now? It's bold, it's just, different from the other one. But personally, I think I would go with the cursive for this lecture. You can choose to find any other font family that you like and make use of it. The ball is in your court. That's what this coding is all about. Utilize whatever you learn and make it your own. So another thing I missed is, if you notice here, this is called something. I don't know if
Favicon.
favicon. That's very good. So we are going to add our own favicon, right?
Yes.
So let me see. Let me go to their website. Let me go to this website and see if. Let me view source and see if they have it as an image or. Okay. Font family. They have, okay. See the font families that they use. Even though this might be a little bit confusing for you, you don't need to go through it with me. Okay. They don't have. They don't have a favicon. This is their scripts. They have quite a lot of scripts. Okay. I can't find their favicon here, but let's see add if we can add it on our own. Let me see if I can get this favicon. Go to SVG. Okay, yes, we can download it from here. This is the favicon that we're going to use. So you see now, this SVG export or whatever has made all the images that are aligned to this website available for me. The images that I can't download on my own, they've made it a lot more available, right? So I'm just
Yes.
going to go to this point, download it here. And when I download it, I can decide to change the name here, or I can change it on my local device. Let me see if I have it on my download. It's not yet downloaded. Let me make changes to it here. I'll say favicon, right? And then download. Okay, favicon.svg. It's been downloaded, so I can copy this and then move it to my documents that I'm working with. This is the programming class, this is the week 4, this is the day 3 classwork, and then images, view. This is the favicon. So if I go back now to my index.html, this is the images and you can see the favicon. So let's go and add this favicon to our website. Let me bring out this title and put it here, and then add the favicon under it. Say link. But in this case, let me put this first. Okay, no, it's inside in an image folder, so I have to mention that folder first and then choose the image. If I just added it directly to my classwork folder, I would have been able to access it just by typing in the name. But it's inside a folder, so I have to mention that folder before I put in the name of the image I'm looking for. Are you clear?
Yes.
All right. So in this case, this is not a style sheet, right? It's an icon. It's an image. So the relationship here will not be style sheet. Style sheet has to do with a document that you use for styling, which is an example is this CSS that we have here. But in this case, we are trying to add an icon. So what we're going to have here is shortcut icon. That's it. And when we go back to our browser, you see that we now have our own icon here. So it's like almost same thing. I can try to change our title and say OPay whatever whatever, and you will not even be able to tell the difference between the two websites. But we'll not do that so that we won't confuse ourselves in opening the website. We'll leave ours as HTML styling. So the next thing we are going to go out to build now is this header or navigation bar. So far we've been able to achieve adding an icon, getting an image from the Chrome extension SVG export. We've been able to what else have we been able to do? Add okay, get the font that we want, either online or offline, depending on the one that we want at that particular time. So let's go ahead and style this. If you look at this one and you look at our own, you see that it's a bit different. Our own has this list style, it has this stuff. So we are going to get rid of it, and our R's are underlined. The reason why it's underlined is because it is inside of an anchor tag. An anchor tag by default is underlined, right? It shows you that this is a link to somewhere. That is a default thing with anchor tags, is underlined. If we had taken this, copied it out, and then just put the personal there, and you go back, you'll notice that it is not underlined and the color is different, right? So any link that you see that looks like is underlined and probably doesn't have the same color, even though you can edit it and make it look a certain way, but that's just like a way to know anchor tags. But most people don't like the line, underline and all, so we're going to get rid of it and make it look a little bit like what we have here. So let's go and get this first phase done. So I'm going to go to container dot container. Okay, first of all, let me get rid of the default margins that we have in our body that I talked about in the last class, so that it does not ruin anything for us. Okay, so in our container, I'm just going to have, what do I even need in this container? Okay, let me not write anything for container yet. Is container header. So our header has a background color of white. So I'm going to go to container header and give it a background. Is there a background or a background color of hash FFF? And then when we go back, you won't see the difference because the background is, obviously white. And then I think it has something like a shadow, box shadow. I'm not okay. It does. Are you seeing it? Can you notice like there's something like a box shadow under it here?
Yes.
There's something like a box shadow. So we're going to give it a box shadow of probably 2 pixels, 5 pixels, 7 pixels, gray, because that is not so black. Let's go over and see. Okay, ours is a little bit too dark, so let me see if I can get a fainter color here. Is this faint enough? Is this still a bit too dark? Okay, so it's a bit closer to what we have here. So another thing we're going to do is to line this on a straight line. And the way to go about it is to use what we call a display of flex. So how does it work? This header now has, let me use draw.io and see if there's something I can. Okay, let's go to draw.io, create new whatever, blank page, create, that's my big, create, okay, save, please. Alright, so we have our box here. This is our container, and inside our container we have a header, and in this header there are two children. There is a div called the logo section, and there is another one, duplicate, there is another one that is called the nav. So in order to live, if you notice, this thing is like under this, right, in our browser here. So in order to live this side by side, there is a there is a property known as display, and display has a lot of values. You can have a display of block, you can have a display of inline block like we talked about in our last class, you can have a display of flex, you can have a display of different things, just different things. So if we go back, you're going to have display, this is the property, and then you see the different values that it has. These are the different values. There are so many depending on what you want to achieve, but the one I make use of often is either this flex or inline block or anything. So I'm going to say flex. What flex does is it helps put properties line by line, like put it side by side. I don't know if that is clear. Is it clear?
Yes.
All right, let's believe it's clear. All right, so if you notice, this one is a bit far from this other one, but our own is close to each other. So it has another thing attached to it, another property called flex direction. Um, not flex direction. Justify content. Justify content. We're going to use space around. Space around moves it, like gives it equal spacing, like around it. That's just what space around does. Like these are like different properties. As you use them often, you mustn't cram them. As you use them often, get what they do and how they work and the best way to utilize them. But this one is still like this, but we want it lying in this way. So how are we going to achieve that? We are going to use the parent carrying this to style it, and the parent carrying it is this UL. This is the list, the unordered list that is carrying it. So we're going to come back to this point, copy this, place it here. I'm going to have UL, and in this UL I'm still going to give it a display of flex. The default flex direction is to give it a row, but they are all joined together. So I'm going to give this a width of, let's say, 70%, and I'm going to give it a justify content of space around. Okay, the width is a bit too small. Shall I make it 80? Okay, this one is giving me issues. Let me change this to space between. Okay, let me see. Inspect. Let's see what the issue is. Okay, right. Mm, display of flex. Alright, we'll have this. We're going to give each of this a width. Each of these list items, we're going to give them a width. So I'll go back here and I'll paste this, and this time around I'll say after the list comes the after the parent container comes the list. Okay, there was something that I missed. I missed giving the head, the navigation. I missed giving it a width. Okay, I need to give this width 80%, and then I'm going to give this one 100%. Do you understand what just happened now?
No.
Okay, so what I did was, excuse me, this is this is our header in draw.io. This is our header, right? And this header has two children. Inside of it is the logo, that's the logo section, and this is the navigation section. So what I now did was I gave this one because the child is going to take whatever space is like that the parent carries. So I said I want this navigation section to take 80% of this 100%, 80% of its parents. Every parent is 100%. So I said, let this navigation take 80% of the parents, and then let the children, the UL, now take 100% of the parents. That's why this was able to get spaced like this. If I want it to get reduced, I will say I want the navigation to take 70%. Then the spaces will get smaller, right? Let me see if I can change this to space around and see how it looks like now. See how it is.
Yes.
It's a bit closer. Okay. So in this list, I'm in this one I'm going to say let it take the probably 80% because it's too wide, it's too open. I'll say space between so that you can move to extreme ends. But there's something else that is wrong. Okay, I want to put this in the center. Let me give this a width of probably 90%, and then give it a margin top and bottom of, okay, top and bottom 0 pixel auto. What did I do? Margin 0 pixel for the up and down, then auto for it to be in the center. Okay, this is the problem we are having here. So I can't do this here. Let me give it to the header is the one that has this. Okay, we'll have to restructure this a bit because I just noticed that we have a huge problem. Let me move this into, this is my header part. Let me move this into navigation. The header carries the navigation, then this UL will be inside of a div called, this div will have a class name of, can you give me a name that is descriptive?
Mm-mm.
Think of something, just think of something. This is like a list, so can you give me a name that is descriptive that will tell us that we are referring to this?
Help.
Help. It's not like talking about this directly. Let's make use of lists, since we are talking about lists. That's good, right?
Mm.
Okay, so make use of lists. So in this case now, see, our structure has changed in this draw.io now. Where is it? Our structure has changed. There is a header one. Let's move this out. And then there is a nav. The nav is now covering these two things. And inside of the nav, we now have this. No, this is two. Okay. Then we now have two containers. This one, what did I do? Okay, move this in here. Let me get this one. I don't know what that thing is doing. Trying to explain this thing as clearly as possible. Okay. Alright, so I'll get this one to be a bit smaller. Then I'll move it in here. Okay, and I'll duplicate it. Alright, and then this one will be long. So all this extra stuff we are using is, these are just like divs, containers. We are trying to make sure that we structure it as well as possible. So this is our header here, this is the container, this is the header, this is the nav, and this one is the div carrying our logo that we named logo section, and this one is the div carrying our list that we named list. It's carrying the UL. So this is the way it is. So if we go back to style it, I can now say this would be our header. Our header would be this. There will be no need for this display flex here anymore. Instead, we are going to add it to our navigation, because our navigation is the one carrying two children and we want to place them side by side. So add it to navigation. Then this box shadow and background color will be taken away from header and given to nav. So this is the way it is for now. Okay, no, I think this one should still go back here. Alright, we're getting it little by little. And then there is a display of flex, and this navigation has a width of 70 pixels, a bit too small. I'll say a width of 90 pixels. Okay, and then space around. Okay, and then we are going to give this, what's the container carrying this one? List. We're going to give this list, and this display flex will no longer be needed. This one will be UL. This will be dot list. My bad. Dot list. This display flex will not be needed here, to be added to the UL. I hope this thing I'm doing is not confusing your life. If you have any questions, please ask me anywhere that you're confused, so that I can easily go back and explain things again. Are you clear?
Yeah.
Alright. Okay. So what I'm trying to achieve is something like this. If you notice, I'm trying to put this thing in the center just like this one is, and still maintain this complete line. So this complete line now is the header, right? And then inside the header there is something that is carrying these two. That is the nav. That's the way I see it. You might see it differently, but the way I see it is that there's something carrying it, which is the nav, and the nav will have a width, and that it will be moved to the center. So this nav will have a width of 90%, have a margin of top 0 pixel, bottom 0 pixel, and we placed auto. So if we go back, let's see how our own looks like. 90%. So let me say 80. Let me see how it is. Okay, you see that it's a bit like in the middle now. Probably 80 is a bit too small. 85 is good, it's a bit spaced. And then the next thing we want to do is move this one to the left, just like we have this one is by the left. So let's go and move it. And what is it pointing to? This is our list UL. So our UL, this one already has a width of 80%. So our UL will have a width of probably 70%. Let's see. 70% of its parent. Okay. Align items. Let me see. Align items. Command X. Let's see how this thing is moving. Inspect. Let me bring it a bit. It's easier to work from the browser. Okay, so this is our list. This is the list that's carrying it. So you want this list to move to the left. So okay, because we gave it a width, space around, we gave it a width. Let's see. Alright, space evenly. Let me see what I gave it. Space around. Okay. Okay. Alright. Okay. Alright, space evenly. So this is what we have. Space evenly. And then this width is a bit too small. We'll give it a width of 100%. Let's see. Okay, this is good. And then margin left. Margin left. Push it to the left. Margin left of 30 pixels. Let me see if it's going to be pushed to the left. Okay. Styling takes quite a lot of time, so you have to like calm down and understand what you're trying to achieve. This is a bit too much. Let's just work with it like this for now. And then there's another thing I missed. There's something else that I missed that is supposed to be in this nav. It is supposed to be align items center, so that it will put all of this thing in a straight line, the same line. Without this align item of center, you see that this OP here is up, like it's like this. Yeah. So with this align property of align items, it brings it down and aligns it in the same line with this one. So let's add align items to our navigation. Align items center. If you say baseline, for example, baseline means you want it to come down, okay, or go up. We have flex start, we have flex end to bring it down. So we might not necessarily see all the changes or differences, but let's go with the center. Okay, so far, have you been following?
Yes.
Okay, so to get rid of these lines, we are going to work with the UL directly. So since we have just one list, let me just say LI, or let me just start from here. So we're going through all those macros, okay. Then you can say, what do we want to remove? This list style, this dot. List style is an attribute. List style, these are different things. If we go with Armenia, you see that it has changed. This is like one language like that. If you go with Georgia, think Georgian, you see it has changed. But in this case, we don't want anything at all, so we are going to say none. We're going to give it a value of none, and then it will be clear there will be nothing there. Another thing that we need is text decoration of none as well. Okay, no, this one will be for the anchor tag itself, because it's not the list that is carrying the line, it's the anchor tag
Non-cutter.
here. It is this A that is carrying it. So you can't remove it by styling this list. You have to style the anchor tag itself. So to be able to select the anchor tag, we'll copy this as well. And then add the A here. And then say text decoration. Text decoration is one that handles line through, overline, underline, different things. But as you use it, you get used to them. We say none, and then they disappear. So this is what we have so far. This thing that is so spaced out is giving me a headache. Like, it's really giving me a headache. Let me see if I can give it a bit. It keeps moving to
The
the
right.
right,
Right.
and I don't really like how it's moving to the right. Let me see. This is the list. This is the logo. This is the nav. This nav space between, still moving to the right. If I increase this thing, it's still like that. I'm having issues with sorting this thing out. But anyways, let's be using it for now, like this. There was something I added. Okay. Okay. So this now space between. Okay. This is how it is. And then this list, this year that is taking 100%, can make it probably 80. Though it will move more to the right, but let's manage it like that. When I'm able to get it done, I would refer back to it. But for now, let's work with this. So far, we've been able to achieve the navigation here. So the next thing we want to do is get this part. And you might be saying, how is it possible to get this color? Even though I don't know how. There's something called, let me see if I can get it online. What is it called again? Color picker. Let me check if there's an extension for color picker. Yes, color picker extension. So this is another color picker extension. Just like we have this SVG extension, you might see an image you want to download, but you can't have access to use SVG. In this case, there's a color we want to get from here, but we don't know the name of the color. We don't know how to access it. We use what we call a color picker. So once you get there, it's like an extension of Chrome as well. So you add it here, you add the Chrome, and then you add the extension. right? How many minutes do we have left? Jesus, 2 minutes to go, and we've not been able to get these things done. All right. What I'm just trying to teach you are just these things that will make your life easier as a developer. Basically, that's what this stuff is for. So when we get to this place, you see that there is now a color picker. So let's go back to this website. Click on this and say color picker. And then this is where I want to get the color. Let me see. Color picker. Okay. Okay, let's see. Okay, see the color now. Have you seen it? If you move it around, you see the colors that were used. It keeps changing as you go through it. Are you noticing anything?
Yes.
So from here, the colors keep changing. But in this case now, they made use of 3 different colors. Like the colors are so much, but this is the main color. This is the hexadecimal. This is the RGBA color. RGB color. And then here, this is the color of this one, D7EDD D7. And then when you go, you see that this one is a different color. So the way to achieve this thing, let me write down these colors so that we can, get to use them. C6, E2, E9. And then let me get this color. This last. The middle one is D4, ECD8 center. And the last, but the first one rather, is CB. When the colors change, like colors continuously change. But let's see. The first one is C5, E7, E6. And you'll be like, how do I make use of all these colors together? Let's go to our HTML. The next one would be, we already have the header, right? After the header, I have the next section that I'll name section 1. This is section. All of them are going to be sections, but I'll give it a name, a class name of section 1. Section 1. This is wrong. I'm not supposed to give a dot. So this is section 1. I'll give this section 1 a background. In this case, you're not going to make use of background color because you're going to use something called a background gradient. Let's go and try it out. So in our index.css, we are done with the first one. The second one that we have is dot container. Okay, I use the comma instead of a dot container dot section 1, right? And we're going to use a background. The difference between a background is that you can use a background gradient, like radial gradient. This is a property that allows you to add more than one color, right, to a, like, more than one background color. Well, with background color, you just have to use like one, I think. You can use just one, but with the background, you can make use of more than one color using this property called background gradient. So we are going to add those colors that we just copied, which is hash C E. It's okay, C5, E7, E6. Then D4, not this, hash D4E CD8, then hash C6 E2 E9. Okay, so these are the colors. There. I'm going to give this a minimum height so that since it doesn't have any contents that will drag it down, let's give it a minimum height of 300 pixel. Let's go back to our browser and see. I'm done using this. So okay, you can actually copy it like this and then put it in your color pickers. Well, we are done with it, so let me go back to this place. What happened? It's not showing. Okay, let me type in something there and see if it actually is working. Let's see what we have. We are beyond banking, made with probably, okay, there are two divs. So I'm going to get the div in the right, the left, and a div in the right. So this is left class, a left container, and a right container for this one, class, a right container. Okay, so here I have H1, let me make it, or H2 that says we are beyond banking, right? We are beyond banking. So I'll still go back to how we're going to get this settled, but let me see if this thing is now working. Okay, it's still not working. Did my color picker is not work? Let me see if a background color, let me see if I made a mistake in spelling. Background color of red. The background color is working. So why is the background radiance not working? Let me check it online. Bear with me. Background, okay, radial gradient CSS. Let's see. Let's see if my CSS is not working properly. Okay. Radial gradient. No, this is not okay. I'm supposed to add how many percent is supposed to take, I believe. So it should be like 30%. Let me see. Should be 10%. This should be 40%. Okay, 40. This should be 60%. Let's see if it's working now. Okay, let's go back to our CMOS line. Get rid of this background color of red. Okay, still not going through. I'll figure this one out as well and get back to you on it. I will figure this out and get back to you on it. Radial gradient, red yellow. So it doesn't even need the. Okay, let's see. Background image. Wait, is it background image that we're supposed to use? Let me check this one as well and see. Okay, background image. Let me make use of this and see if it's going to work. Background image. If it doesn't work
Still not
out,
working.
it's still not
It's
working.
not working.
Alright, I'll go through it and see why it's not working. Probably it's the color I made use of, but it's supposed to work. Let me try another background radial gradient because I wanted to teach you something using background radial gradient of white, red, green, and black. Still not working. There's an issue, very big issue. Okay, I'll see why it's not working and get back to you on this. So for now, let's move first. Let's just give it a background color of teal. I think teal is a bit close to what we're doing. Probably lighter, a lighter teal, just something like this. And if you notice that there's a space here, so probably there's somewhere I gave a margin top. There's somewhere I gave a margin top. Where is that? This thing has a margin bottom. Let me see. Okay. And let's see. Okay, still can't find where I have a margin bottom. Right. Okay. There is no margin top here as well. Well, let me just add margin of 0 pixel. Okay. Alright, all the margins are off from here, but we lost our we lost our box shadow. So let me go and do this here. Let me see if this will work from here. The background is still not working. Radial gradient. What of linear gradient? Still not working. Alright. Command X. And take this out. There's an issue with this stuff I wrote here. Let me see. 2 pixels, 3 pixels. Okay, 9 pixels. There's still the space there. There's a place that I'm getting a margin button from and I'm yet to figure it out. Okay, today's wonderful listening is going on. It's not going as planned. Alright, so basically we've been able to achieve just a couple of things today. We've learned how to use a color picker, learned how to get an image that you don't have direct access to, learned how to use Google Fonts, right? So these are the
Yes.
things that we've gotten. So your assignment will just be to replicate these things as best as you can. You don't need to bother about this. You can make use of the background color that
Yeah.
we used here. You get?
Yeah.
Yes. Not till till is a bit darker, so I found something a little lighter. You can make use of this and get this working and get this working. And in our next class, we'll have a review of this class. By then, I would have fixed all of these things. Okay? So
Okay.
that will be all for
Thank you.
this class. Have a good day.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you.